Hi everyone, it's Melissa and welcome back to another Friday Reads. So I have a lot of updates this week. I didn't do a Friday Reads last week, but last week I did a lot of reading for Shorty September. I think previously I had said that I was going to be uploading a reading vlog reading Shorty September books, and that's not going to happen. I did film a bunch of that vlog. I did vlog that reading experience, but looking at the footage, I just wasn't happy with it. So that's not happening. If you don't know, I film a lot of stuff that I just decide I don't like that and I don't put it up. So you only see, you see most of what I film. I don't throw out a ton of it, but it's not uncommon for me to just throw something in the recycle bin and not post it. So Shorty September, I read a bunch of stuff. Well, a bunch. Well, yeah, I did read a bunch of stuff. So unfortunately, I had one DNF, and that was Heartberries by Theresa Maylott, or not Maylott. I used to pronounce this Maylott, but then on the audiobook, there were two different pronunciations, one from the regular narrator and one from the narrator of the introduction. So it's either Mayotte or Mayo. I think it's Mayotte. So Theresa Mayotte. I do think a lot of people would like this type of memoir, but it just wasn't my cup of tea. So the memoir reads almost like poetry. There's not a clear delineation of what was written when. So a lot of this is from journals that the author kept while she was in hospital for mental health issues. She has bipolar, I think it is, bipolar 2 disorder. And she was allowed, and I think maybe encouraged, I'm not sure, to write during that time. And so some of this feels like a journal, and that just didn't suit how, what kind of memoir I like to read, but I know a lot of people might appreciate that. So the entries, it means the writing was very raw and it was very in the moment, and I think people could get something out of that. I just prefer my memoirs to have more reflection and over the events and that kind of thing. So I ended up DNFing it because I knew I wasn't going to get on with it. And I figured, what's the point of finishing a book? Just to leave a low star rating on Goodreads, which feels kind of a crappy thing to do considering it's someone's life, you know? So I decided just to DNF it and to not pretend that I didn't read some of it, because I do want to push it a little bit because I think it will work for a lot of people. But if you're like me and you prefer that reflection, then it probably won't work for you. So that's Heartberries. The other things I read for Shorty September were The Test by Sylvain Nevelle. I read this on audiobook. It's super short, 2 hours, and that's perfect. Get in, get out. Really loved it. It's a thriller, and it didn't need any fluff. It just needed the story. But I'll talk about that during my wrap up. I also read The Subtweet by Vivek Shreya, which I ended up loving, which really surprised me because I don't normally go for contemporary stories, which this one is, and I just fell in love with it. I just got a lot out of it, and so I will talk about this during my wrap up, but I also think I have enough thoughts swirling around in my brain that I will make a standalone video about the subtweets. So that was a success. What else did I read for Shorty September? I think that's everything I finished. I am more than halfway through The Lathe of Heaven by Ursula K. Le Guin. So far, I am loving this. It is very creative, imaginative, the kind of sci-fi that really lets you explore just kind of one idea, which is the best for me. And it is about like this guy who can dream, and not all of his dreams, but every once in a while he has a dream that becomes reality, like it shifts reality, and no one else remembers that things used to be different. And it's just, yeah, it's very tense, and I'm like, I'm going to finish this tonight for sure. Yeah, so Lathe of Heaven going really well so far. I am also about halfway through some Hellish by Nicholas Herring, so I won't get to review this in my September wrap-up because I'm not going to finish it by the end of the month, obviously, but I will talk about it in October. So far, kind of like mixed feelings. There are some things that I think work really, really well, and there are other things that are like just not my own personal taste. Namely, it's a little plotless. It's much more about like the inner thoughts of the characters, which I'm all for characters, but I need a bit more plot. So those are my like initial impressions. I'm struggling with the lack of plot, but there are other things that just are really strong. So yeah, that will be coming more towards the end of October. And I've also started reading Oliver Twist as part of October, and I am in the middle of vlogging this for a pop culture osmosis video, which I haven't done in like a year. I think it's been since I've done a pop culture, not quite a year, 10 months maybe, something like that. It's been so much fun. There's just fun videos to put together. And I haven't started this yet, but I guess we're moving on to like what's up next. Even though I am starting my Victober reading and it's Victober very soon, I want to see if I can squeeze in another. I'm just in the sci-fi mood right now, and Kindred has been like calling to me from my shelf, and I'm just really in the mood to read this right now. I've heard it's very fast-paced. It's also not terribly long. This copy is like 260 something pages. So given that it's not that long and it's very like fast-paced, I think I could get through this fairly quickly. So I might try to finish this over the weekend and then start like more Victober reading like on Monday, maybe. I am, like I said, reading Oliver Twist, but I also want to get started on my other Victober reading, which is Wives and Daughters. So that's everything I have read, am reading, will read soon. Oh, but I wanted to share like some movies, TV, music, that kind of stuff, as I like to do on these Friday reads. So I haven't watched any movies lately. But now that it's getting close to October, I'm in the mood for things that are maybe like a little bit creepy. I don't watch, although I love reading horror novels, I don't like watching a lot of horror. But I am in the mood for kind of like scary stuff. We are several seasons behind on Stranger Things, so I would like to watch season 3 and maybe 4. I'd like to get caught up on some of Stranger Things this month or next month. It's basically October. I also am very curious about Squid Game, or Squid Games, whatever it's called. But I'm really scared. If you've watched it, let me know kind of like how much gore there is. I'm very particular about what kind of violence gets me. So like I said, I don't watch horror because I don't like purposely like stuff that's supposed to make you like feel physically ill necessarily. I don't mind certain types of violence. Stuff like violence that you see in like war movies, like battle scenes and stuff. That for some reason like doesn't bother me because it's more, I hate to say it, but it's more like a spectacle type of thing. Whereas things that are intimate violence, like someone getting like bludgeoned in the head or like stabbed, like those kind of things, those get to me. Like if you've watched, I won't spoil because this is like at the very beginning of the movie. If you've watched Pan's Labyrinth, the beginning of the movie where that guy gets like his head or his face basically obliterated by, what was it? I think he was hit by like the butt of a gun. That, I have never seen that movie since. I want to watch that movie again, but I will definitely like skip the opening because I could never watch that again. Speaking of that, here's a fun little kind of like question of the day type thing. What movie have you watched that you would like, that you think is a great movie that you were glad you watched, but that you will never watch again? I'm not saying I would never watch Pan's Labyrinth again because, like I said, I do want to watch it again. I just won't watch that scene again. But there are other movies that I've seen where I can see they were great movies, but I never want to see it again. The Green Mile, for me, is The Green Mile. That's my answer. So if you know the scene. I'll never watch that again. But yeah, what movie have you watched that was like a great movie, but that you never want to see again? The best movie you never want to watch again. That's the question for today. So I think that's it. I hope everyone has a great weekend. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll chat soon. Take care. Bye.